The horses smelled it first, a metallic scent of ozone and impending violence that didn't belong in the 13th century. Subutai's elite vanguard didn't fear any army on Earth, but tonight, the sky over the Eurasian steppe was behaving wrong. The clouds weren't drifting. They were circling. Something was hunting them. A veteran scout looks up, eyes squinting against the biting wind. He clutches his talisman and prays to Tengri, the eternal blue sky, begging for mercy from the invisible dragon growling in the dark. He thinks it's a test of spiritual faith, but then a sudden, blinding flash of white light erupts in the center of the formation. Physics breaks down. Dirt, horse, and man are instantly displaced. The scout's prayer is cut short not by a god, but by a precision engagement. They looked for a sign from the heavens. They found a firing solution. In this simulation, we aren't just comparing weapons, we are comparing economies of death. The AC-130J Ghost Rider is the apex predator of close air support. It brings two primary force multipliers to the table, the U-23A 30mm autocannon and the M102 105mm howitzer. It is a sniper rifle the size of a commercial airliner. But it is not a god. Facing it is the Golden Horde under the command of a prime Subutai. 100,000 cavalrymen. To the modern pilot, they look like ants. But in military calculus, they are biomass. To kill them all, every single bullet must find a target. The math of death is unforgiving. The gunship carries approximately 96 rounds of 105mm and 3,000 rounds of 30mm. Total distinct projectiles, about 3,100. Opponents, 100,000. The rules of engagement for this sandbox are absolute. No resupply, no mid-air refueling. The gunship has 4 hours of loiter time before it hits bingo fuel. The Mongols have nowhere to run, but the gunship has a hard ceiling on its carnage. The pilot has to be perfect 3,000 times. The Horde just has to survive until the tanks run dry. The AC-130 enters the Pylon Turn. It banks into a precise counterclockwise orbit, turning the 105mm cannon into the pivot point of a compass drawn in the sky. For the crew inside, it is a math problem. For the Mongols below, it is the apocalypse. The sky opens up, the ground liquefies. The blast wave moves faster than the speed of sound, liquefying internal organs before the brain can register the flash. A crater the size of a swimming pool appears where the leadership of the Golden Horde stood a microsecond ago. The horses, bred for the terror of the charge, dissolve into panic. Then comes the dull, rhythmic thump-thump of the 30mm autocannon. It sounds like a heavy door slamming repeatedly, echoing from the clouds. The stream of 30mm shells creates a distinct line of heat on the ground, sweeping across the formation like an eraser across a whiteboard. The shells punch through wooden shields, leather armor, and horseflesh as if they were paper. The Mongols attempt to rally. They form a shield wall. They fire arrows vertically, hoping to hit the beast. But the arrows lose momentum at 300 feet. The gunship is orbiting at 7,000 feet. It is not a battle. It is an execution. The greatest army of the ancient world is being dismantled by 5 guys drinking coffee in a pressurized cabin. But friction is the only universal constant in war. The AC-130 has been too effective. By igniting thousands of wooden yurts, wagons, and dry steppe grass, the crew has created a thermal nightmare. The target sighting system relies on the temperature difference between a warm body and the cold ground. But now, everything is burning. The battlefield is a sea of white-hot interference. The computer struggles to lock onto targets. The Mongols are no longer distinct entities. They are ghosts moving through a wall of thermal noise. And then the 30mm cannon begins to overheat. The crew watches helplessly as red warning lights blink. They are orbiting a target-rich environment loaded with ammunition, but physics has put them in timeout. For the first time in 20 minutes, the sky falls silent. The thunder has stopped. The dragon is catching its breath. And Subutai, the master tactician who dismantled the armies of Russia and China, realizes the pattern. The beast is blind in the smoke. Modern warfare is a race between lethality and logistics. For 4 minutes, logistics is winning. The thermal smoke clears slightly. On the ground, amidst the craters, lone riders are blowing into long, curved horns. A deep, guttural, mournful sound cuts through the wind. The Mongols are not mindless savages. Subutai realizes that the Sky Dragon feeds on density. If they stand together, they die together. So, he orders the Starburst. Dissolve the formation. The massive, cohesive red blob of the army suddenly fractures. Like a drop of mercury hitting the floor, the 100,000 men split into thousands of tiny individual slivers. They scatter in every compass direction. The tactical advantage of the AC-130 just evaporated. The 105mm Howitzer is a weapon of mass destruction, designed to kill platoons, not individuals. Firing a 105mm shell at a single horseman is tactical suicide. The efficiency drops critically. The crew is forced to play whack-a-mole with a weapon system designed for surgical strikes. The Mongols are using the sheer vastness of the steppe as their armor. They aren't fighting back. They are outlasting the machine's endurance. The gunship is still the deadliest thing in the sky, but it is rapidly becoming the most expensive lawnmower in history. The clock has run out. The 105mm rack is empty. 996 rounds gone, 96 craters left behind. The 30mm ammo drum is spinning on fumes, with less than 200 rounds remaining. The pilot looks at the fuel gauge. They have enough jet fuel to get back to base, or they have enough to make one final statement. He chooses violence. The whine of the turboprops increases in pitch as the AC-130 drops altitude. It drops from the safety of 7,000 feet down to 2,000 feet. At this height, the roar of the engines is deafening to the men on the ground. It is no longer a silent killer. It is a screaming banshee. The 30mm cannon unleashes its final burst, a long, continuous stream of fire that looks like a whip of lightning cracking across the dark steppe. The gun runs dry. The familiar thump-thump stops, replaced only by the howl of engines. The pilot banks the aircraft hard to the right, pulling G-forces as they climb away toward the horizon. As the mechanical demon fades into the night, the survivors begin to stand up. Subutai crawls out from beneath a dead horse. He is covered in ash, his ears bleeding from the overpressure, but he is alive. He looks at the retreating lights of the plane. He doesn't know it ran out of fuel. He thinks he survived its wrath. The gunship won every engagement, but the Mongols still hold the battlefield. The after-action report is terrifying. In 4 hours, a single crew eliminated over 8,000 enemy combatants. A kill-to-death ratio of 8,000 to 0. In a modern war, this is a decisive victory. But this is a war of numbers. The AC-130 is a tactical god but a strategic failure. It ran out of bullets before the Mongols ran out of bodies. The Golden Horde has lost 8% of its force. That is a heavy, bloody nose, but it is not a defeat. They will regroup, they will adapt, and tomorrow they will continue their march west. The modern tech won the battle, but logistics lost the war. According to my calculations, the gunship would need 12 sorties to wipe them all out. Do you think a squadron of A-10 Warthogs could finish the job in one pass? Or would the Mongols find a way to shoot them down? Cast your vote in the comments below.